You know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop making business personal.
Big Meech thought teaming up with Rick Ross was his golden ticket back to power, but now he's realizing the game's got no real loyalty, just fake smiles and backdoor deals. After flipping on 50 Cent and throwing his support behind Rose, Meech walked out of prison thinking he had a solid plan waiting for him. Instead, what he got was betrayal from every direction. At first, Rick Ross played it smooth, showing Meech love, name-dropping him in interviews, promising to help him bounce back like a boss. But when the business side started falling apart, Ross switched lanes fast, acting like he never even knew Meech. And guess who he went running back to? None other than 50 Cent, the same man Meech had just turned against.
I never folded, never told, never will. Death before the sun.
Talk about cold-blooded. Now Meech is left standing in the open, betrayed, blindsided, and realizing too late that this industry loyalty is just a fairy tale. The streets might have respected him once, but the game he came back to, it's all politics, power plays, and people selling dreams. But here's the real question. Why did Rick Ross flip like that? And is 50 Cent secretly playing puppet master behind the scenes, pulling strings just to watch Meech crumble? Oh, things are about to get wild. What goes around always comes back, and Meech is learning that lesson in real time. Here's the crazy part. Rick Ross might have slithered his way into Meech's ear like a real snake, trying to stir drama between him and 50, but in doing that, he might have actually passed 50 Cent the biggest win of his career. Because let's be honest, if Big Meech could turn on 50 that fast after everything 50 did to keep his name alive through the BMF show, then maybe Meech was always bound to show his true colors sooner or later. Now the talk on the block is that Meech is panicking, pointing fingers, blaming everybody but himself for why his
Even though Rick Ross might have played the snake by whispering in Meech's ear, trying to drive a wedge between him and 50, he might have accidentally done 50 Cent the biggest favor ever.
Welcome Back concert was a total disaster. Nobody's lining up to support him, nobody's investing, and nobody's coming to his rescue. So who's he blaming now? The same man who hyped him up with fake promises, Rick Ross. When you really break it down, Meech wasn't a partner. He was a pawn in Rick Ross's game of ego and revenge. Ross never had plans to rebuild Meech's empire. He just wanted to use him as a weapon against 50, trying to steal the BMF crown for himself.
We 2 days away from the Big Meech concert. Get your tickets right now. Make sure everybody flying to the city for this. It's gonna be huge.
But when the drama got too real and the business side went left, Ross vanished, left Meech high, dry, and humiliated. Now Meech is trying to flip the script, acting like the victim, but the truth, he played himself. The streets got a code, and switching sides for a quick bag is something real ones never forget. Let's be real, 50 Cent didn't even have to lift a finger for this one. Big Meech was already digging his own grave without any help. The streets had been whispering about him for months, snitching rumors, broken promises.
But
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
And that whole legacy concert that ended up looking more like a cry for attention than a comeback. And if there's one thing 50's mastered over the years, it's patience. He knows how to sit back, chill, and let his enemies crash and burn all on their own. Then boom! Just 2 hours before the show was supposed to start, Ameris Bank Arena pulled the plug without warning. Out of nowhere, they dropped a cold, lifeless statement. Due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's show has been canceled.
Y'all gonna be disappointed when Lil Baby don't show up? When Skilla don't show up? When Vizzo don't show up? And all these show up?
Refunds will be made at the point of purchase, that's it. No reason, no explanation, just straight humiliation for Meech. And while fans were confused and promoters were scrambling, guess who was already watching it all go down like he had the script before it happened? 50 Cent himself. Before the concert was even officially announced, 50 was out here laughing, telling folks, that show is never happening. And when it all fell apart exactly like he said, 50 turned petty mode all the way up. He posted the canceled flyer like he just won a Grammy. The caption, cold as ice and twice as shady. I had nothing to do with this. Please stop calling my phone. I sincerely hope you have a nice day. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm stronger than you think I am. Now come on, nobody's buying that innocent act. 50 doesn't deny anything. He just lets the world know he's always 2 steps ahead.
Big Meech's giant welcome home concert
I told you it was
was
gonna get
canceled.
What'd I tell you?
The bill was
What
insane.
did I say?
The list of artists on it was
50 wasn't done trolling, he took it even further. He jumped online and wrote, "If you bought an outfit and was ready to turn up, I apologize for whoever's responsible." Let's get to that. Come on now, that's straight up supervillain energy. He knew exactly what he was doing, rubbing salt in the wound while the internet watched him clown a man who once ran the streets. But the real dagger, when a fan boldly accused him of shutting down the whole event himself.
Believe a stand-up dude doing his time would suddenly say, "I don't want to be here no more. I'm gonna become a rat."
50 reposted it with a slick message that said, "I apologize for your trip to Miami, but they've been playing with me, so let's build when y'all get back to the city." Like, wow, 50 was out here playing chess while everyone else was still trying to figure out how to roll the dice. Meanwhile, Big Meech is spiraling, pointing fingers at anyone he can. But the truth, he trapped himself. Rick Ross set him up for failure. 50 backed away with a smirk, and now Meech is stranded. No concert, no allies, no legacy left to stand on.
And
What
you
up,
all.
though? Boss of all bosses. And today I'm coming to tell all my supporters, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you got, you trying to make it go up, hit me right.
Things just keep getting worse. 50's done extending that BMF lifeline. No more support, no loyalty, no sympathy. The same man who built the TV show around Meech's name just cut ties completely. And to make matters worse, the family's last hope, Lil Meech, just lost his own gig. Lil Meech tried to pull the loyalty card on 50, begging him to keep the concert alive. But that play backfired hard. Now season 4 of BMF is officially canceled, and fans can see exactly why. 50 even went as far as leaking Lil Meech's private texts online, exposing every desperate message. In those texts, Lil Meech swore up and down that he'd give 50 the shirt off his back, while at the same time defending his dad's connection with Rick Ross.
Quit playing with dude. I'm gonna say that much. Over and out. I'll catch y'all when I catch.
The wildest part in all this drama, Lil Meech actually confessed in his messages that Rick Ross has been paying Big Meech's bills. Yeah, you heard that right. He wrote to 50, "They just told me you unfollowed me on Instagram, and now you managing Skill Abba with Rocket. When I brought him around you first, when you didn't even know who he was. Now you mad at me when I would take the shirt off my back for you." He went on, "I can't believe this, man. You act like I'm your enemy when all I ever gave you was loyalty. I go through my own problems, but I never switched up on you. F Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts." That right there flipped the whole internet upside down.
So BMF is BMF, but not because of 50, it's because of Big Meech, right? That's his story, that's his life, right? So I don't think 50 doing him no favors. They both profited. Right?
Because if Big Meech is depending on Rick Ross for cash, that means he's officially in debt, not just financially, but politically too. How you gonna take money from the same man your old partner can't stand? That's not just betrayal, it's a full-blown power play. Rick Ross is clearly working behind the scenes, playing puppet master. By throwing a few stacks Meech's way, he's tightening that leash, making himself look like the savior while secretly dividing him from 50 even more. It's a psychological move. Classic Ross behavior, turning friendship into leverage. Even the game jumped into the mess, throwing shots and cracking jokes. He posted, "Just seen a text from Lil Meech to 50 that got me dying. Hey Lil Meech, you were supposed to be like, F you, this BMF. I'm standing with my pops. Me and Fifth got our own issues, but that's on pause while I post this." Then he added, "When Fifth said,
I owe you no loyalty. That mean I can't go get money elsewhere, right? If more money get presented to me, right, I'm gonna go get me a bag. I just did 20 years in prison, right? I'm not gonna let nobody stop no bags come in because of y'all beef, bro."
What's your little A gonna do? I damn near spit my water out. What happened to the gangster everyone used to fear? Big Meech, the same man who once ran the streets like a kingpin, now looks like a chess piece getting played in his own game. 50 Cent doesn't even have to make a move. He's just sitting back, sipping his drink, watching Meech crumble all by himself. This ain't about snitching rumors anymore. It's about power, ego, and a fallen legend losing control of his own legacy. Right now, Big Meech is looking less like the boss he once was and more like a pawn while Rick Ross pulls the strings from behind the curtain. And 50, he's standing off to the side, calm and patient, letting karma do its thing. The BMF empire that once stood tall is slowly collapsing.
I owe you no loyalty. That mean I can't go get money elsewhere, right? If more money get presented to me, right, I'm gonna go get me a bag. I just did 20 years in prison, right? I'm not gonna let nobody stop no bags come in because of y'all beef, bro.
And the saddest part? Everyone saw it coming except the Meches themselves. Lil Meech, the one person who was supposed to protect the BMF legacy, ended up fumbling the whole bag. Instead of standing tall and loyal to the man who built his career, 50 Cent, he got caught up defending his dad's decisions and Ross's influence. The kid who was supposed to carry the torch is now stuck in the middle of a feud that never had to happen, and 50, he's not holding back anymore. He's going straight for Big Meech's parenting, dragging him for how he's handled Lil Meech's future. Recently, old clips popped back up online. Footage of Lil Meech with Rick Ross's daughter, Toy Roberts. That situation been around for years, but this time, 50 used it as ammo. He jumped on social media and fired shots, questioning why Rick Ross, who's now pretending to be so loyal to Big Meech, didn't lift a finger to help Lil Meech when it actually mattered. 50 reminded everyone that he's the one who paid for acting school, he's the one who gave Lil Meech his first big break, and he's the one who turned him into a star. Meanwhile, Ross and Meech's so-called circle did nothing. Then 50 really twisted the knife. He called Big Meech out directly, saying that instead of making sure his son stayed focused, Meech came home trying to play Black Pablo Escobar. And in doing that, he didn't just ruin his own comeback, he dragged his son's future down with him. At this point, it's way past a rap feud. This is full-blown betrayal. Big Meech, once protected by 50 Cent's influence, made one wrong move that pushed him straight into isolation. The bridges are burned, the trust is gone, and 50's making sure everyone knows he never forgets and he never forgives. What started as a partnership turned into a war zone, and now the feud with Rick Ross just adds gasoline to the fire. Their beef goes way back to 2008, years of diss tracks, lawsuits, and public humiliation. Remember that infamous case where 50 had to cough up $7 million? Yeah, that came from that same long, dirty war. Then last year, Ross decided to take another cheap shot, calling 50 broke. Big mistake, because if there's one thing the world knows about 50 Cent, it's that he never lets things slide. And guess who else doesn't? His old ally, Gene Deal, who's been throwing his own shade and hinting that this story's deeper than what fans think. But this time, the drama's not just personal, it's hitting 50's pockets. Word on the street is this could be the final season of the BMF show tied to his massive $150 million stars deal. For most people, walking away from that kind of bag would hurt bad, but 50's not like most people. He's a strategist, a long game player. He'll tear it all down and rebuild it twice as big just to prove a point. Once you cross him, there's no second chances. And this is where things start getting really dark, because 50 didn't just make up those snitching rumors out of thin air. Those whispers have been floating around for a long time. Word is, Big Meech might have made a quiet deal with the feds before he got released. And at the center of that secret, a woman named Tammy Cowens, a longtime friend of Meech's, and allegedly a federal informant. Sources claim Tammy helped Meech cut a deal that shaved serious years off his sentence. But let's be real. Nobody walks out of a federal case that clean without giving something big in return. And what he supposedly gave up? His old friend and business partner, Dion Gatling, better known in the streets as Cuffy. Cuffy and Big Meech went way back. Real history, real business, real trust. They'd been running plays together long before Meech ever caught that case. But according to Cuffy's daughter, Tamara Gatling, their whole family got blindsided when the truth came out. Meech was allegedly the one who set Cuffy up. That revelation hit like a bomb. The Gatlings said they only started putting the pieces together once they got access to the case files and identified one of the confidential informants. And guess whose name kept popping up over and over? Big Meech. His name was all through the paperwork. That's when things started getting real messy. Apparently, Meech had personally introduced Cuffy to Tammy Cowens, the woman who ended up being the key to his downfall. Tammy wasn't some random associate. She was Meech's power of attorney and literally owned the rights to his entire life story. Cuffy, thinking it was a legit business move, trusted his old friend and stepped in, only to end up in handcuffs not long after. Once the discovery files dropped, it became crystal clear that CS1, the confidential informant in the case, was none other than Tammy Cowens herself. But everyone in Meech's circle knew one thing: Tammy wasn't making those moves on her own. There's no way she was out here working for the feds without Meech's full blessing. When the Gatling family confronted Meech, hoping for some answers, he brushed them off like it was all just one big misunderstanding. But as more info surfaced, the story stopped adding up. Tammy might have been the one wearing the wire, but the power behind her looked a whole lot like Meech. In the end, Cuffy took the fall, did time, while Meech walked free. That shattered the myth of brotherhood that BMF had built its name on. Because when the feds came knocking, all that loyalty talk went straight out the window. Still, even with all that evidence floating around, there are folks who refuse to believe Meech could ever do something like that. And right on cue, Young Buck popped up trying to defend him like it was his personal mission. The streets were laughing, saying Buck's just out here caping for Meech because he's desperate to stay relevant. If there's one thing the world knows about 50 Cent, it's that he doesn't do second chances. Once you cross him, it's over. And when Young Buck decided to jump in defending Big Meech, 50's response was straight ruthless. He didn't just clap back, he torched him publicly, dragging up Buck's past and leaving no mercy in sight. He mocked him online, turning the situation into a viral moment that had the internet spinning. 50 basically said, "This fool fell out with me because he couldn't control himself. I didn't tell him to go loving on the wrong people. He made that choice himself." It was classic 50, raw, unapologetic, and savage. Of course, critics came flying in, accusing 50 of being a culture vulture and stirring drama just to boost his name in the headlines. But when you really think about it, who's actually profiting off all this chaos? Both sides! Big Meech's story has already been turned into a hit TV empire, introducing a new generation to the BMF legacy. And on the other side, 50's entertainment brand continues to rise every time his name trends. Even Lil Meech owes his career to 50. Without him, there's no acting debut, no red carpets, no fame. Yet somehow, 50's the one catching heat for simply exposing the truth. But let's get real. This was never about clout or publicity stunts. This whole mess boils down to one thing: loyalty. And if you know anything about 50 Cent, it's that he treats loyalty like law. Once it's broken, there's no rebuilding it. He stood by the BMF name, gave Lil Meech the platform to shine, and helped him become more than just Big Meech's son. But the second it became convenient, the Meeches switched sides, and that was the final straw. After everything 50 Cent did for him, putting him on the map, paying for acting school, and handing him a whole career while Big Meech was behind bars, Lil Meech still turned around and switched sides. And now, he's paying the price for that betrayal. It's crazy to think about this same Lil Meech who was living it up on the BMF set, dripping in designer and rubbing shoulders with Hollywood stars, is now out here begging for paid promos online for $500 a post. That's not even rent money. That's gas cash, pocket change compared to the fat checks 50 was cutting him when he was on the payroll. One minute he's the face of a hit TV show living the dream life, and the next he's scrambling to keep the lights on. But you already know 50's not letting that slide. If there's one thing about him, it's that he always gets the last laugh. He warned them all, betrayal has consequences, and this right here, it's the perfect example. This whole saga has turned into one of the messiest, most shocking stories in hip-hop right now. Big Meech built his empire on loyalty, but in the end, it's the same thing that tore it apart. The people he trusted the most, Ross, Lil Meech, even his own circle, played both sides until the whole foundation cracked. Now Rick Ross is cozying up to 50 like they've been friends all along, Lil Meech is hustling for pocket change, and the once legendary BMF name is falling apart piece by piece right in front of us. But what do you think? Did Big Meech bring all this on himself by turning his back on the ones who had his back? Or is 50 just shining a light on the truth everyone else is too scared to say out loud? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with your friends, because trust me, this drama is far from over. Stay tuned, because the next chapter is about to get even wilder.